Okay, so apparently Star Wars is still a thing in terms of popularity, I guess to some extent. I don't think Star Wars is as popular as it was during the 2000s or during the 80s or what have you. I think in video games, the quality of Star Wars games that we got to see within the past decade have been really good. A lot of people have had nothing but good things to say about the Star Wars Battlefront game that came out a couple of years back. But a game that is considered to be legendary within the Star Wars series is a game that came out about 20 years ago. This is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And apparently we're supposed to be getting a remake for the PlayStation 5, but apparently it's still in development. And I think there had been news about, I guess, the Knights of the Old Republic game being in developmental hell. There have been hurdles and all that stuff to get it on the PS5 because the original version of Knights of the Old Republic came out on the original Xbox console about 20 years ago. It was featured on a PC, it was on Xbox, and I think eventually it was on the Xbox 360. And I believe the game was developed by BioWare and published by LucasArts, and a lot of people say that's one of the best Star Wars games ever made. Even better than some of the most recent installments that we got within the Star Wars series in relation to video games on the PlayStation 5. But everybody has their own respective opinion about that, and honestly, I have no idea whether or not we're going to get the remake of this game before the year is over, because you would think that something would have been done by now, because this year marks the 20-year anniversary of the release of that game. And the fact that the game never got remastered back in 2013, which would have been the 10-year anniversary of that game, or I think 2017 or the mid-teens, which would have been the 15-year anniversary of the game. That kind of tells you that, Star Wars in general is not quite as popular as it used to be. I still feel like the franchise is still kind of coasting off its name and its past success and all of that. And it's still one of the most, popular sci-fi, movie series or franchises of all time. But yeah, nowadays, Star Wars is something that too many people aren't really paying too much attention to, because times have changed. People have different preferences in relation to video games. People prefer action adventure, RPG, shooter games, more realistic games in general. But I'm pretty sure this is something that would appeal to hardcore fans of the Star Wars series in general. And I do feel that this is something that would definitely cater to a niche audience if it finally gets released. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled, but I'm not exactly sure whether or not this would be a massive attraction on the PlayStation 5, because there's a lot of other popular PS5 games that are out right now and that are going to be coming out in the future that could definitely overshadow Knights of the Old Republic, because we live in a different era of gaming. Right now, we're still waiting for the upcoming release of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. We have, Final Fantasy 16, which I believe is a PlayStation 5 exclusive that's going to be coming out soon. And with games like that, I do feel that, Star Wars is kind of just, it's somewhat of an afterthought. And I think that's one of the reasons why this particular game is being remade, because it's one of the more popular installments within the series. And I think a lot of people know that this is something that would definitely attract mainstream attention, as it has, because people are writing about it, and they're trying to figure out when the remake of Knights of the Old Republic is going to take place. A lot of people are speculating that's going to happen sometime in 2024. It shouldn't be any later than next year. It has to be, because the thing is, it should have been released this year, considering the fact that it's the 20-year anniversary of this game. And whether or not this means we're going to get a remake of Knights of the Republic 2, I have no idea, because that was a pretty good game. People will say it was not quite as good as this one, Knights of the Republic 1, but I do feel that this game becomes largely successful. It opens the door for a remake of its sequel a little bit later down the line.